Hey everybody, Yankee here. You know one thing I don't like? Striker-fired guns. I don't like them at all. Now, I'm not a big fan of polymer guns, period, but especially not striker-fired polymer guns. Got no use for them. Really don't care for them at all. But you know what? A lot of people do. A lot of people love them. In fact, I think it'd be easy to make the argument that they're the number one type of firearm in the carry market today. They're the ones that are the most chosen type of gun for people that are going to carry a gun every day. They're very popular. Glock is probably the king of all this, even though they may not be the top selling polymer gun now or even make the best polymer gun. They're the ones that started it. They're the ones that brought polymer guns into the limelight. They're the ones that popularized striker-fired polymer guns. So they kind of started this whole thing. And a lot of other companies have rode their coattails and then maybe even surpassed them in some ways. But they're still the standard. Everything is judged against Glock. And there's reasons for that, like I said, because they kind of started everything. But you know, there are alternatives to Glock. There's Smith & Wesson. There's the SIG P320 series. You know, there's different guns you can get in the same price range. And there's even really expensive polymer guns you can get nowadays. But the thing is, a lot of the polymer guns are expensive. Even the Glocks and the Smith & Wessons, the basic ones. You know, manufacturers love to make polymer guns. One of the reasons they dominate the market so much is because they're easy to make, they're a cheaper mechanism, and they have more profit potential. So they can get more profit out of every gun when they make striker-fired guns. And sometimes they take advantage of that. You know, Glocks, M&Ps, etc. You're looking at $600-700 sometimes just to get a decent one. Especially the new one. And you can pay anywhere above that for a polymer gun if you want to. But some people want to carry a Glock-like gun, but they don't want to spend that kind of money. So they're always like, hey Yankee, what are the alternatives to a Glock that are probably, you know, just as good, you know, if you look at them just from a functional standpoint, but don't have that big price upgrade because of the name? Or something like that, you know, just one reason or another, they're less expensive, even though they're good, reliable guns. So today I thought I would do a video where I say what I think are the top 5 lower cost or budget alternatives to Glock. So let's go ahead and get started here with number 5. All right, at number 5, we have a gun that I personally don't care for, because I don't care for any of these really as a gun for me. But I don't like this company because it's Turkish. But, you know, that's my own personal issue. You don't have to share in that issue. And it's the Canik TP9 SF. Now, these guns are awesome as far as just being a gun is concerned. If you take the manufacturer out of the equation, love them. They are basically Walther clones. They've based all their designs on the Walther, like the P99. And they're very nice guns. And this one is no exception to that. It is a nice firearm. I just don't like where it's made. And it comes in at a pretty low price. They are in the mid 300s. You know, you can find these $329, $349 quite often. Just the basic TP9 SF. Now you can get Caniks that cost a lot more, but if you're wanting one that doesn't run $700, actually runs about half that, and is a good quality gun, and is available in a couple of different colors, doesn't have to be black, you can also get it in baby shit and other things. So that's a nice alternative to a Glock. Like I said, often this would be at about half the price you would pay for a comparable Glock. Works just as well, looks even better in some ways to a lot of people. Now, I prefer the looks of the Glock, but I can understand why a lot of people would like these better because they look like the Walthers. So that's number 5 on my list of budget Glock alternatives, and it's the Canik TP9 SF. All right, next we have the cheapest gun on the list. And this gun is pretty much a no-frills gun, and it's not a name that makes everyone go, ooh, gotta have that. It's a Taurus. And it's the Taurus G3 series guns, the full size, the compact, whatever. These are great little guns. They're very functional. They're very reliable. They're easy to use. So you get a dependable gun at often like a third of the price of a Glock or a Smith & Wesson. These are very cheap. You can get these for $229, $239. If you wait and find them on sale somewhere, they are super cheap. And they will protect your life very well. And these actually have a restrike capability. That's something a lot of these striker fire guns don't have. If for some reason the first time you pull the trigger, the round doesn't go off, you can pull the trigger again, which is unusual for striker fired guns. Walther's one of the few others that do that. So this is a great choice. I have bought literally over 100 of these because these are the ones we give away for TYMP. And I wouldn't give anyone a gun that I didn't think was a good gun. And this is a good gun. And like I said, it's super cheap. So it definitely deserves the place here at number 4 on my best Glock alternatives in the budget category, the Taurus G3 series guns. All right, at number 3, we have probably the most expensive gun on the list. But even as the most expensive gun on the list, it doesn't really matter what the last 2 numbers are because the first number begins with a 3. You can get these $389, $399, and they're awesome guns. They're probably the best made gun on this list of budget alternatives to the Glock, and it is the Beretta APX A1. This is a modular designed gun, has the firing control unit. You can replace things like the grip and the slide, etc., and never change the gun itself because that firing control unit is the serialized part, and that's awesome. This is very much like the P320, how they do their guns, but much cheaper. Like I said, $389, $399. I've even seen them on sale for $359. So that is a bargain for a gun that's this well made. Beretta is well known for over-engineering their guns and making their guns in a way that is just almost an art form. And these are no exception, as much of an art form that a polymer gun can be, especially a striker-fired polymer gun. But Beretta did their magic, and this is a great gun. And like I said, to be sub 400, to be in the 300s when you buy one of these compared to the Smith & Wesson and an M&P, I think in many ways, this is a better gun than any of those more expensive ones. It's just not as popular. And Beretta kind of uses it as their loss leader to get people into the Beretta line. So they don't price it up high. They don't get that big price increase, that big profit margin that a lot of the other manufacturers of polymer guns get that have bigger names. Beretta is pricing them low, which I think kind of hurts them in some ways because people look at it and go, it looks great, but it's so cheap, it can't be any good. But it is. It's a Beretta through and through, and it's a great gun. And like I said, the fact you can save $200-$300 over a Glock or an M&P, that definitely makes this a great gun and a great budget alternative to a Glock. It is the Beretta APX A1. All right, the gun at number 2 is probably going to be the most controversial gun on this list because people badmouth them all the time. I stayed away from them for a long time because people badmouth them. But after actually trying them out, they're pretty awesome. And they're awesome at a low price. And of course, I'm talking about the PSA, and in this case, the PSA Dagger. These are guns you can pretty much put together yourself. You can go to their website, you can choose all your parts that you want, make it look however you want, different colors, different cuts on the slide, etc. You can make this gun look pretty fancy. You can make it look like one of the higher end Gucci Glocks, and it still functions like a Glock. And it is just an awesome gun, and you get it for like $350. Low to mid 300s, high 300s if you're going to make it really fancy. But it's solidly constructed. In fact, the ones I have, I think they're better than my Glocks and cost way less and far more customizable. So I just can't argue with the PSA's quality. And people who slam them, I wonder if they've ever tried PSA. And I know some people will put out, oh, look how junk it is. Look at this video. Watch me make it fail. Well, anybody can do anything like that with any gun they want to do it with if they want to slam them. So I think a lot of people have an issue with these guns, and I'll admit, I kind of fell victim to that. I never would try them for years, but lately I've been trying them, and I'll tell you, I think they're superior to Glocks. Now, I know a lot of people are going to crucify me for that, but even if they were equal quality, or maybe even a little bit less quality than a Glock, which they're not, they'd still be a great alternative because, like I said, they're so cheap and so customizable, you can make it your own. So they'd still be worth it. So when you take into account that I believe fully that they're every bit as good as a Glock for a lot less money, with a lot more options and a lot more visual appeal, the PSA Dagger is easily the number 2 best alternative to a Glock. All right, now we're to number 1 on the list. And number 1 is kind of a modernized version of a gun that's been around for a long time and has been a great gun at a great price. And I'm talking about the Smith & Wesson SD40 or SD9 that is now available in the 2.0 version. And these are awesome. They're great. I had one, loved it, gave it to someone else who didn't have a gun. They still have it. They still love it. It's their only gun. They use it for home protection and they go to the range with it. It's just a nice little simple gun. At least it was. Now it actually is a nice moderate level gun because now it's actually got a lot more of a nice look to it. Used to be you looked at it and you're like, it's functional. Now you look at it and you're like, it's functional and it looks kind of nice. Got a better grip, better trigger, physical trigger. So just a better gun now. It's updated and it was great before. And here's the thing, low 300s. 329, 315, all those kind of prices. I've seen them for $299 before. So consider that, a gun from Smith & Wesson that is very Glock-like in its function and appearance, but in my opinion looks a little better now, and $300 range, that is a great combination. And as far as reliability, performance, it's every bit as reliable as a Glock. There's nothing special about Glocks. They're not magic. They just use a very simple mechanism. And other guns that use similar simple mechanisms are just as reliable. No matter what people want to make you think, Glocks are not special in that regard. They just lucked onto not lucked. He designed a good platform that is very reliable, very simple, and doesn't have a lot of room for failure because it is so simple. Not a lot to go wrong. And other gun manufacturers have taken up on that, and Smith & Wesson's version of that is, the SD series. And like I said, awesome gun for the $300 range. So when you're comparing that to a Glock or even an M&P, but in this case for this video, a Glock, well, yeah, maybe it doesn't have the name recognition. Maybe it doesn't have the tactical cred that the Glock has. And Glock deserves everything it has. They're great guns. But in this case, if you're really concerned about the budget, half the price, maybe even less than half the price, and every bit as good of a gun, and in many ways, I think looks even better. At least I think a lot of people would think it looks better. So it's a great choice, and it is easily, in my opinion, the number 1 budget Glock alternative, the Smith & Wesson SD Series 2.0s. There you have it, my choice for the top 5 budget Glock alternatives. Do you think I'm right? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think there's some on there that shouldn't be on there? Do you think there's some that should be on there that aren't? Like maybe the SAR series that I have no experience with, so I didn't put them on here. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of my choices and what you think your choices would be. Or come to my live chat. We do live chats every night at 6 p.m. except for Wednesday when they're at 7 p.m. and Mondays is members only, but every other night is open to the public. So come on in, let me know what you think about my choices for the top 5 budget Glock alternatives.